Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Silverstone Raven RV02E, but it's also the white version. The E there's a couple of things that I need to cover anyway, because there's, to explain stuff, but anyway, the E basically means it's got the 180mm fans in the bottom, and obviously the white is a limited edition, which, do you know what I mean, I'm not going to hide the fact that I do love white cases. Now, for the eagle-eyed or the regular amongst you, you will realise that I've actually used one of these before. This was a case that I chose for one of the systems that we used at Gadget Show Live. It was the Yeti rig. Up until that point I hadn't used it, and pretty much we picked it because it was different. We knew it had relatively good air cooling just because of the design and the fact that I've used some other Silverstone cases with this kind of design in the past. But mainly because it was white, and I've got to admit that the reason why I chased a sample of this, because the Yeti rig is now gone back. I've not got it anymore. I've not seen it since Gadget Show, but I knew the retailer that was selling these, which is Scan in the UK. And basically I went and badgered Scan to get a sample, because Silverstone are selling them so fast to the retailers. Trying to get a review sample is just like non-existent at the moment, or there's a massive waiting list. So I went and gave Scan a little bit of a nudge, and Scan have kindly sent this to me. But like I said, I've had some good experiences with this, because obviously I had to build the system for Gadget Show. I used it for a week at Gadget Show, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to give it a good proper review, because I, straight from the off, I'm not going to mess about. I am really impressed with this case. We'll get to all those kind of things. What I'm going to do is stop burping because I've just had my lunch, but I'm going to bring you in for a good look round the case now, explain some of the features, and give it the good TTL thorough overlook. So without further ado, let's crack on. Right then guys, camera in my hand as ever. Don't want to change the way we do things, do we? Anyway, let's have a look. Now at the front you'll see that the drive bays come quite a way down. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 what appears to be drive bays. But I will explain in a little bit more about this in a minute, because not all of these are actually active drive bays. This front section here has actually got two white LEDs in it. This is your power light, and then you've got the power button and the reset button here. You've also got a little light that comes up here. Little light there. You can just about see it. Anyway, I should really look at the camera more. You can just about see it, but that's where your hard drive activity light is. Two USBs. These are just USB 2 as well, not USB 3. And then your microphone and your headphone. Now, if you've not, had any experience with these cases before, the motherboard is completely rotated. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the top off, because you've got this lovely kind of cover top which hides all your cables. So I'm just going to take it off. Now obviously, like I said, I'm trying to do this all with one hand, and I normally fail pretty badly at doing this with one hand, but there we go, we get it off. So then we get the first look of what the top is, and that generally is where you would expect the back of your PC to be. Now if you think about it, I'm going to take the side panel off in front of you, and it is a windowed side panel on this as well. It's not an extra cost option. This case just does come with a window. When we look inside, you can see that the fans are in the bottom, drawing air in from the outside from underneath. The fans are 180mm, and they are dust filtered, by the way. Now these dust filters are pretty good, because where the dust wants to settle, basically, but if you draw air in from the front, the dust can fall down and still get sucked in. What seems to happen a lot with these cases is you'll find a lot of dust underneath your rig, because the fans haven't got enough power to be able to suck all of the dust in. Obviously the dust filters will still get clogged up and you need to clean them, but like I said, you will find you'll have a lot of dust underneath these rigs, and I've got to admit, it does keep the inside of your rig a lot tidier, a lot, dust free. But the point about the fans in the bottom, normal laws of thermodynamics is heat rises. Now with your CPU cooler exhausting out the back, your graphics card, exhausting out the back. All the heat wants to ride, so you bring cool air in at the bottom, which gets passed up over your hot components and then out the back. There is a top 120mm fan, but you've got 3 180s in the bottom. Now in the bottom as well, like I said, basically this one is pretty much almost just cooling the hard drive, so with a 180mm fan you're never going to get hot hard drives in this. You can see there are plenty of cooling vents and everything, so the air can still pass through, but when I was talking about the front, you've actually only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 usable optical bays. So the bottom 3 on here are just blanks because of your hard drives. Now when we get around the back, I'll show you in a sec. This is actually a hard drive. It's got like a dock in the back, and it's stayed in there because I've got to admit I haven't screwed it in, so that's my rookie error. So it's TTL fail on that one. But there's a dock in the back of this one, which is what I've got it connected into. But then these are just normal brackets, and what you're meant to do, which I didn't, is you're meant to screw your hard drives in, and I just shoved it in just to show you, and I didn't really think about pulling it out, but never mind. All your front panel cables here are all braided white. Now these are for your buttons, your LEDs, so that kind of stuff. The USB cable and the front panel audio isn't, and it's just black. Another thing, now I've done it the right way because people always moan, there's a meshed panel at the back of the case which is removable. If we have a look, there you go, and it's got a dust filter in there as well for the power supply, so your power supply can still draw air in from the back if you wish, and I've mounted it that way this time. I've just got the Mushkin 700 watt in there, but you can still mount the power supply both ways. I normally mount it so you can see the fan, just because I like to see the fan, no other reason. Now one thing I did want to show you while we are inside is that graphics card in there at the moment is a 6850, which is quite a small card. There's plenty of room in there. You can see, look, I can easily get my hand underneath the graphics card by the fan, but I've left a couple of slots clear because I do this. Now I'm literally just going to slide it in there, but you can fit a 6990 in there with about 5mm to spare. Once it's all, you know, mounted in there properly, clipped into the motherboard, there is just enough room underneath. So you can get, that's the largest graphics card on the market at this present moment in time. The 590 is actually smaller. I'll show you quickly now. The 590 will need me to hold it, but there's the 590 in there. And if we come down, you can see there's a good gap at the bottom of the 590. So it fully accommodates all the largest graphics cards without any problems really. So you've not really got to worry about that. The banging is me trying to move these graphics cards, by the way. So we've got one hot swap there, where there's a dock in the back, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 other hard drive ports. 380mm fans in the bottom, all 3 of them with dust filters. There's plenty of cable management from this side. As you can see, the hard drive cables go out the back and then you can poke them through there, but there's also holes at the back of the board as well, which is kind of what we want, and some more holes there. People always ask about motherboard sizes. Now Rampage 3 isn't actually any bigger in length, so you can only go up to 80x length, but with the Rampage 3 it's slightly longer because it's E80x. It comes down here a little bit further. You will still be able to get a Rampage 3 Extreme in here, but obviously because of the length, any boards like the G1 Assassin, for argument's sake, that's longer, will not fit in here because there quite literally is just not room. So 80x length, but you can go for E80x width. Cooler wise as well, we've got the Thermolab Trinity in this one at the moment, which fits in fine. I know from personal experience that the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro fits in perfectly fine, which is a tool cooler, and so does also the Noctua NHD14. That will fit in here perfectly fine as well. Pretty much as a rule of thumb, just to give you a rough idea, if you've got a 120mm fan in the back of your case, the Noctua NHD14 should fit as long as you've not got a side panel fan. Really, the only time you'll get problems with the D14 is your side panel fan. But if you've got a D14, you really don't need a side panel fan blowing over your CPU heatsink. But anyway, we won't go into any more detail on that. If we pop back up to the roof, these switches are for the 3 fans in the bottom, and you can literally have them on low or high, and they're all that's all pre-wired in. I will show you in a sec, so I'm going to put a power cable in and give you a demonstration, but low really is very quiet. High, in a quiet room you would hear it, but it's definitely quieter than some of the heat sinks that I've tested here in the past. So it's all very good. That's one of the reasons why I really like this case, is you can actually have a really quiet but well air-cooled system. I really am a big fan. Now, I'm not going to keep banging the case around with one hand. I'm going to spin it round quickly and take the back panel off, and then give you a look at the back. Right then guys, onto the back panel. What I want to show you here quickly is this is just like a bunch of cables that I've bunched up, and basically I've got the 3 bottom fans on 12 volts, but obviously we've also got the fan adapter, like the controllers in there anyway, but we've also got the other cables. Now, there are a lot of panel clips dotted around, so you can clip all your cables up. These clips here are so that you can poke zip ties through and make sure everything's really nice and tidy. You can go get this as a very tidy rig behind. Obviously, like I said, I have used this in the past. The USB and audio that I spoke about before are here. Now, I didn't fit them for the review, but they are up there, and you can see that there's still a fair bit of room behind the board. Up this end you've got well over an inch. Up the other end you've got a good kind of 12mm there roughly, and yeah, it's really not that restrictive. You can get the side panel on, unless you've got an absolute monster amount of cables at the back, you won't have a problem getting the side panel on at all. At the back here you can see the SATA dock that I told you about. It's got a SATA cable built in. You can remove it if you don't want it there, it doesn't have to be there. But also, not only can you remove it, but you can move it up and have it wherever you want. So that's a nice feature, you're not locked to the position. And as you can see, the 180 still pokes out here, so you do get a lot of airflow over these hard drives. Obviously it's not really going to matter if you've got, for argument's sake, like solid state drives, but if you've got hot drives like Velociraptors or anything like that, these are going to keep them nice and cool. But really, for the back of the case, that's about it, guys. You can see we've got one of the protective strips from when it was delivered. I've forgotten to detach. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spin the case around. We're going to leave the other side off, but I'm going to give you a demonstration on the fan speeds now. Right then, guys. Fans in, well, on. These are in silent mode at the moment. We have a look at the top. I've not got the whole rig powered up, I've just got the fans powered up, just because I'm trying to show you the volume of the actual fans themselves. Anyway, the fans are running. If I, sat here with the door off, with them on silent, I can just hear them, and I mean only if I listen really carefully, with nothing else going on. But with the door on and them on silent, can't hear them at all. If we turn all the fans up loud, you do then get a bit of noise, which, like you can hear in there, but they're not super loud at all. There are a lot of heat sinks out there on the market, as in CPU heat sinks, that will drown this out, but if we stick the side panel on, put that up, it actually does make it a lot quieter. But that's the volume with the side panel on, and if we switch all the down, it's near enough inaudible. But obviously you've got that low setting, which is perfect for like night time when it's cooler, you know, kind of low end use. But if you're hot summer day, real warm summer day, you can crank that up. And let's be frank, it's not like you know, the noise of a thermal take 3.0 or the Cooling Master V6 GT in there. It's really not that loud. By the time you've got some music or a game on just low volume, you won't be able to hear this at all. So the actual volume of the cases is actually, the volume of the fans is really, really good. It's another reason why I really like this, is the fact that you've got those two really simple settings depending on what you want to use it for or what's going on at that moment in time, and everything still stays really well behaved and quiet and well cooled. And obviously where the fans are 180mm, even though they're spinning slowly, they're still moving a fair amount of air in here. So yeah, really, I mean, this design is brilliant, and those fans are an absolute masterstroke. The only real thing that you've really got to consider when you're purchasing this is, from my experience, the cables for your monitor. If you've got like a multi-monitor setup, for example, or and everything's kind of all set up so they fit perfectly for the back of your case, moving it up to the top, sometimes you need longer cables. If your PC's on the floor, it's not going to make a lot of difference, but I really wouldn't suggest putting this on the floor because of the where the fans are. Honestly, say it needs to be on a hard surface. Doesn't necessarily have to be on your desk, but definitely not down on the carpet, because obviously you'll start to block stuff up then. But the main concern really is the case's depth, because it is, you know, quite long. It's as long as most cases are tall. Now I'm looking for my tape measure, but the wonderful Mr. Strawberry, that's why the camera's off on the angle, Mr. Strawberry hasn't put it back where it belongs. I've not quite taught him that yet. It's like a puppy. He won't be getting any treats, but I'm trying to do this with one hand as normal. But the case itself is actually 64 centimetres in depth, so 640mm from the back to the front. So if you think about buying it, make sure you kind of think about that, you know, that kind of depth, because it does make a lot of difference. Even on my larger office desks, this does come, you know, literally right to the very front of it. So it's definitely worth considering that. But anyway, what I'm going to do is try and get tidied up, because it does look like a bomb's hit it here at the moment, where everything's kind of like out for this video. But let's get this baby wrapped up. Right then guys, time to get this little review wrapped up. Now I'm going to say right from the get-go, because a lot of people moan that I don't put the award in soon enough. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to give it, then I'm going to explain why. Gold. That's second out in my mind, and it's one of the reasons why I was so active in chasing a sample of this, because I wanted to jump on it as soon as I possibly could after I got back from Gadget Show. I was proper amazed with the case at Gadget Show. Not only in the fact that it kept everything cool, but because of the way the event was, there was lots of this real fine, like a beigey coloured dust. It got everywhere. The two open systems that we had, the heat sinks were completely and utterly caked in it. The graphics cards were really dirty, again completely caked in this. It was over the boards, it was over the cases every day. The monitors, we were wiping them, and within like 20 minutes to an hour it was, you know, stuck back on the monitors again. But amazingly, the Silverstone kept, I would say, 85% of that dust out. I was hoovering the fan filters pretty much every morning, and I was proper amazed with that side of things. And let's be frank, dust in your rig makes stuff warmer because it can't cool as well. Whether, you know, it doesn't matter what you're cooling, what you're using, dust is never a good thing, which is why we should all be, you know, switching our rigs off, unplugging them from the walls, but then attacking them with a hoover every now and then. But also, I was actually very impressed with the cooling on it as well, because we had two 6.970s in it at the event, and we were getting heat problems at the event because it was really stuffy, the air conditioning wasn't that great. Where we had so many bodies around all the rigs all the time, the stands were getting really, really warm, and I was having to spin up the graphics card fans to keep everything cushy. And whereas in the open rig, like the Fractal, where the side was off and we had no airflow and everything in there, I was having to keep, you know, the graphics card fan in that at like 70-80%. In this, they were still left on auto and we weren't getting any problems at all. So there are a lot of things like that which, you know, through the extended use that I had it, I was amazed by. So at the end of the day, yes, it's a big case, but it's really well priced. It's priced around $180 in the UK, isn't it, Straws? It's going to look for me now quickly because I did forget to look at the video. Obviously look at scan because that's where you get it from. It's a really nice white case. White is very much the in thing at the moment. It's kind of transferred over from the cars, but white's been about with PCs for quite some time. My first custom rig was a white rig. Where it follows the normal laws of thermodynamics, you know, the cool air comes in the bottom, blasts all your air up, keeps all your components lovely. It's a really nice looking case, I find, as well. Obviously, one thing that you need to bear in mind is that the window, compared to most cases, is on the other side. So you may need to kind of jiggle your desk about if you really want to be looking in the window. But one of the things that we saw that when we were on, at Gadget Show and with the Yeti system is if you use some of the LED strip lights, like the braided ones, when you light this up, it actually does look really, really nice inside. The window really does showcase the system really well. So, just to wrap this up, it is a funky design because obviously it's not kind of the normal thing that most people are going to expect. It is quite weighty, it's quite big. But like I said, the build quality is amazing. You get the 380mm fans in the bottom. Thermal performance is something I'd really like to draw attention to because I would probably go as far as to say this design, not necessarily this case, but the Silverstone design with the three 180s in the bottom blasting upwards, it probably is the best air-cooled case on the market. Now there are a few like it at the moment. You've got the Ravens and the Fortress ranges, and they're pretty much exactly the same. I don't know why Strawberry's taking so long. He's kind of like got a dazed look on his face and he's only got to look for one thing.
Found it.
How much is it then?
142.
Really? It's 142 quid for the white Raven?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Show me the screen because I don't believe you. Right, 142 quid? I honestly, I put my hand on my heart, I was going to give this a gold because I thought it was about 180 and I would have, without a second thought in my mind, would have given it a gold for 180, but for 140, oh my god. I mean, okay, there's not as much room in there as some of the like larger full tower ATXs. What we've got to bear in mind, this is kind of put your motherboard in there and keep those components really cool. There's not really a lot of room around there. Anyone that's thinking about water cooling this, don't bother. It's a proper air cooling case. That's proper quiet as well. But for 142 quid, you're onto an absolute winner. And Gold Award, and if there was such a thing as the TTL, you know, recommended, you know, anything like that you want to call it, hands down. A lot of people on the forums have asked this, and air cooling. You can fit your big heat sinks in there, you can fit your big graphics cards in there. For an air-cooled rig, definitely one of, if not the best air cooling case on the market. And to, if you know, just to kind of go that little bit further, even I would be happy to have this on my desk. But just to let you know, guys, like I said, Gold Award right from the very beginning. But you're going to be seeing this case again very soon, so keep your eyeballs peeled because there is something else coming, and I think it might put a smile on a lot of people's faces. I'm going to say no more. Yes, that's that over and done with. I'm not going to say anything. But for now at least, guys, with the gold award-winning Silverstone Raven RV02E white special edition case, now that's a mouthful. Can you say that backwards as well? Yeah, it's Tiny Tom Logan with another review with a big grin on his face because I really like this case. Out.